Hi folks, this is Siggi today in my hometown, and tonight there is a show with two of the greatest metal bands, All That Remains, and from Soilwork we have Wichers here, and well, thank you for having us here, and for a little guitar talk. Well, I wrote down some questions, and well, the first one that I wrote down is what does a day on tour look like for you?
There's a lot of waiting when it comes to touring. So it's basically, you know, you get up in the morning and you go in, and hopefully there's coffee when you get in, and that's what. And you usually, and also hopefully you have internet as well, so you can, you know, do your emails and you know, correspond with the people back home. And then, you know, on this tour, since we kind of have a different, there's kind of three headliners. We have Caliban, All That Remains, and Soilwork. So we switch territories. So in Germany, Caliban is headlining. But in Scandinavia, Soilwork headlines. And so usually when whoever headlines gets the sound check, and then otherwise, you know, we kind of just, you know, go up and play. So there's quite a bit of some people, you know, they like to. Some people sit and play guitar all day. Some people work out, and you know, some people do nothing, and you know, so it's basically a long waiting thing. Sometimes we go for a walk and try to explore the city, but it's a little too cold to do that right now.
It is. When it comes to the concert, do you play the songs before? I know there are a lot of guitarists who play all that stuff they play in the evening before. Do you do that? No.
No, I warm up for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then I just go for it. And
do you try to improve your skills during the day? Do you have time to play, or do you play? Or?
I found that doing productions and recording, you know, recording a lot of other artists, you know, my job then consists, you know, majority of it consists of me finding mistakes. So I found that, you know, now when I play guitar, I approach guitar playing a lot differently, because I hear all the you know, I always try to listen for mistakes, and that way I think mentally when I play I'm conscious of those things.
So when you are producing, your ears are really switched on hearing mistakes?
Yeah, they have to be like that. So mentally it takes a lot out from me to do that, you know, for, you know, months straight, but at the same time I think that has improved my guitar playing, but I don't really sit down and practice anymore like I used to when I was a kid.
Sometimes people see you as a kind of, or you said it about yourself, you're a kind of rhythm guitar player. Is that right?
Yes.
I don't want to be offensive, but does it mean that you say, well, I'm good enough, and it's too much work to check out all these scales? And
no. Theory-wise, I mean, I consider myself, I can do lead guitar as well, and I do do a lot of lead guitar, but I think it's been interpreted kind of differently from different people, because basically I started as a rhythm guitar player, and there was always a lead guitar player when I was playing in the band. So I always focused a lot, so I trust my right hand a lot, and basically I think that there's a lot of lead players that are great at doing leads, but are not very good rhythm guitar players, because they have a different technique when they play. So they focus on playing, you know, leads perfectly, but then when they play rhythms, it's kind of muddy, you know. And I think that now when I approach leads, I try to, you know, I used to practice scales all the time, and I still play leads, but I don't consider myself a shredder, you know. So basically, when you have a lot of, you know, some guys, that's all they do, you know, like it's all about how fast and how much they can play. And for me, it doesn't say anything to me, because music for me is a feeling. So it doesn't matter if it's metal, if it's rock, if it's country or pop, whatever it is. If I don't feel the music or the melody, you can play as many notes as you want, it's not going to impress me. Because you can play 4 notes in a solo. You can take Pink Floyd, for example. And if you listen to Pink Floyd, you know, all those notes, there's so few notes, but when you play those notes, they're played at the absolute perfect time. So they speak to you. And that's the approach of music that I have.
It's great to hear that. What comes to my mind is, well, last night I listened to a workshop by Olli Herbert. The guitarist with All That Remains, and he knows about Hungarian scales or whatever. And to me, it's sometimes, well, I ask myself, is it worth practicing these scales? Because when it comes to you or when it comes to the other guitarists on the band, I think all the solos you do in the concert They are not improvised, aren't they?
No, they're not really improvised. No, there's sometimes we have older songs where I do improvise a little bit, but everything I don't really write solos before I go into the studio. Yeah. But we'll work on ideas, you know, and that's pretty much ideas. So it's not. I mean, I could probably come up with. It's a little different when you have metal because you have to be kind of in a certain frame. Yeah. Because what's happening in the background is really pushing the envelope of what you can do in the lead. Yeah. You know, and a lot of times that's why you know you can play scales all over because you have double kicks in the background all the time. Yeah. So that would be the obvious thing to play. But if you play something that's a little bit more scaled down, you know, it's a slower song. Yeah, I could totally improvise over that.
But am I wrong when I say, okay, before you go on stage or before you record a song, that you have the background, the playback, and then you check out what kind of melodies you want to play?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, I'll listen to something first, and you know, I'll try to see like, okay, what kind of vibe, you know, would we want to go for here, and for me, it's basically I look at guitar as an extension of a vocalist, like you know. A lead guitar player communicates by playing a melody, you know, and a singer communicates by singing by his lyrics and a melody. Yeah. So it's just an extension of it's the same thing. It's just a matter of how you express your way of musicality. I think.
I've heard that you are into other styles as well, like Jerry Douglas or these country players, Tony Rice or bluegrass.
Absolutely.
Does that have an influence on your music?
It does in a sense that I really admire. Living in Nashville for 2.5 years, that I used to go to the Bluegrass Jam every Wednesday. Yeah. I didn't get up there and play because I can't. Those guys are absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. But I found it so refreshing to see. Like you have 4 people going up on stage with a microphone, and then they just play. Yeah. You know, and it's absolutely perfect. Yeah. Every note they play is absolutely perfect, and that makes you think. Like so many people now, when you see it live, there's so much playback, and there's and when they play, they don't really practice anymore. You know, like I think that because we have this new form of computers. I'm guilty of it myself, but since it's so much easier to record these things than it was back in the day, because back in the day you had tapes, you had to nail that whole song. It was one take and that was it. But now you can do it small little increments, and so if you don't practice and you write really difficult stuff, when you come out and play live, it's not going to sound good. Yeah. You know, so that's one thing that I feel like when I listen to these bluegrass and flat pickers, I'm just like, these guys, you know, they know what they're doing, you know, but it takes endless amount of practice to get to that level.